are some of the most expensive weapons in One Piece. We have a massive mech that's worth millions to a staff that can brew some stormy weather. And you certainly don't want to miss the Avengers-level threat at number 1. So grab your treasure maps as we count down the top 10 most expensive weapons in One Piece, and give their estimates in berries and the real-world US dollars. Number 10. First up on our list is something that might not look like much, but is surprisingly useful. Dials. These mysterious little gadgets from Skypiea might look like ordinary seashells, but trust me, they pack a whole lot more. Dials can store and release all kinds of energy, from light to fire, to even devastating shockwaves. There is always a dial ready for pretty much any scenario. For instance, the impact dial can absorb the kinetic energy from attacks and then use that as a way to attack. While these things can be used on their own, one way that is popularly used is with weapons, making them pretty important tools. Dials are fairly common throughout various sky islands, notably Skypiea. Some of them, like the powerful reject dial, can be extremely hard to come by. On top of that, dials in general aren't common across the sea, so any person looking to get one would have to get to the sky, but still, they're pretty handy and portable tools. Looking at them, it would cost around 50,000 berries for one of the more common dials, and the rarer ones could reach up to 1 million or 2. If we use our exchange rate of 93 berries to $1, a common dial would cost approximately 540 US dollars. Trust me when I say this is nothing compared to the rest. So, you remember how I said dials can be used along with weapons? Well, our next weapon is an example of that statement. Number 9. Introducing Kabuto, Usopp's prized weapon. This isn't your average slingshot, it's a sniper's best friend. But pair this weapon with Usopp's insane sharpshooting skills and you have yourself a professional marksman. But what makes this glorified slingshot special, you may ask? Well, thanks to Usopp's genius engineering skills, Kabuto uses dials which greatly increases its power. He was even able to land shots from ranges that the Marines' rifles couldn't reach. Another thing that makes this weapon so interesting is its ammo variety. Thanks to Usopp's creativity, this versatile sniping weapon can fire anything from explosive stars to pop greens that can create a garden of destruction in seconds. What makes Kabuto valuable isn't just the sheer craftsmanship. There are also the upgrades. Dials, pop greens, and all the other different ammo it can fire. So that would ultimately place its total value somewhere around 500,000 berries if it were ever sold. We're looking at $5,380 in real cash. With that, things have already begun to pick up because we're breaking into the million berry zone. So brace yourselves because we'll be starting it with a bang. Number 8. Next on the list are the not-so-subtle Buggy Balls. Explosive cannonballs crafted by none other than Buggy the Clown. Now, Buggy may be a bit of a joke to some, but there's nothing funny about the level of destruction these things can cause. What makes the Buggy Balls stand out is their sheer over-the-top explosiveness. While most pirates are loading regular cannonballs, Buggy's out here tossing miniature C4s at his enemies. To demonstrate how powerful these things are, just one of them was able to obliterate an entire row of houses in Orangetown. And these aren't exactly easy to come by. Each Buggy Ball is specially crafted, meaning they're not just destructive, but especially unique. So we can say that each of Buggy's balls could cost somewhere around 2 million berries. That will be around $21,500 in real life. But if you think this is destructive, wait until you see what the Straw Hat's resident Cyborg has been working on. Number 7. Now Frankie's no stranger to big flashy creations, but this is next level. General Frankie is a walking arsenal, a massive robot equipped with cannons, missiles, all sorts of heavy artillery, and even a sword. Although Frankie's sword skills are not one you should talk about. In addition to being stocked with loads of weapons, the armor of this giant mech is one to behold. The General Frankie can also tank a lot of damage. It was even able to take the impact of a point-blank missile explosion, and it did not experience any damage. General Frankie's not just about brute strength. Thanks to the engineering prowess of Frankie and some of the finest materials he could get his hands on, this makes it one of the most fascinating pieces of tech in the Straw Hat's arsenal. Putting those in mind, this mech would definitely reach 50 million berries, or in terms we are more familiar with, $537,000. So far, we've seen cannonballs that explode and mechs that punch through walls. But what if I told you there's a weapon that doesn't just destroy, but transforms entire islands into poisonous wastelands? Number 6. We're gonna look at one of the deadliest weapons ever created, Shinokuni. This isn't your typical cannonball or sword. This weapon was created by Caesar Clown and is capable of turning entire areas into lifeless wastelands. Shinokuni isn't just dangerous, it's nearly impossible to escape once it's unleashed. This gas spreads at an incredible speed, suffocating anyone caught in it and leaves its victims petrified and coated in an ash-like shell. Caesar Clown's cruel design made sure this weapon wasn't just deadly, but devastating. It's the kind of weapon that could shift the balance of power in the world. With its ability to render entire islands uninhabitable, Shinokuni is a weapon of mass destruction that costs 200 million berries or $2.1 million. Fortunately, this weapon's power lies in the hands of a few, so the world of One Piece is safe. For now. Number 5. Up next is something a bit less terrifying but still equally powerful. Next on the list is the Climatech, Nami's weather controlling staff. Originally designed by Usopp, this weapon has gone through some serious character development, from a tool used for party tricks all the way to Nami's personal weather generator. From summoning lightning storms to creating mirages to hide the user, the Climatech allows Nami to control the skies themselves. And trust me, she's got more than just a light drizzle up her sleeve. This weather staff also had its power increased even further when Nami fused it with the homie Zeus, one of Big Mom's living souls. When together, the Climatech becomes a true living weapon, adding extra power to Nami's weather-based attacks. From its clever design to its ability to rain down destruction, the Climatech isn't just a weapon, it's a masterpiece of weather engineering. And let's be real, a tool that can manipulate the weather would cost another 200 million berries. Again, that's $2.1 million. Seeing how the Climatech can control the weather, let's shift gears to a weapon that doesn't need fancy tech or weather tricks, just sheer power. Number 4. Our next weapon is the massive Naginata wielded by none other than Whitebeard, Murakumogiri. Now this isn't just any weapon, it's one of the 12 supreme great blades, the pinnacle of sword craftsmanship in One Piece. Murakumogiri is as fearsome as its wielder, but when it's used with Whitebeard's Gura Gura no Mi abilities, it makes this already deadly weapon even more terrifying. Another signature fact about it is how durable this blade is. This weapon has withstood Akainu's magma attack and it still remained as pristine as ever. This weapon is more than just a tool. It's an extension of Whitebeard's overwhelming power and a symbol of his legacy. Anyone willing to get their hands on this blade would be willing to pay up to 300 million berries. Or I could say $3.2 million. Number 3. Coming up in number 3 is another blade of equally high quality, Ace. As another one of the 12 supreme great swords, Ace was the favored weapon of the Pirate King Goldie Roger himself. A fun fact is that this sword also shares the same name as his son Portgas the Ace. However, it's not confirmed which one received the name first. Obviously, Ace is no ordinary sword. It perfectly complements Roger's advanced mastery of haki. With this blade in hand, Roger has gone toe-to-toe with legendary figures like Whitebeard and Kozuki Oden, one of the greatest swordsmen that has ever lived in One Piece. though its whereabouts are currently unknown. But if it ever resurfaced, I bet it would fetch 500 million berries or 5.3 million US dollars. After exploring the one and only Goldie Roger sword, you'd think we'd reach the peak of legendary blades. That's where you're wrong. Number 2. In second place, we have Yoru, one of the most fearsome and recognizable swords in the world of One Piece. Wielded by Dracula Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, Yoru is also another one of the 12 supreme great swords. However, this one is a bit different. This sword is an incredibly rare black blade. Yoru's power is legendary. In Mihawk's hands, it has effortlessly sliced through warships, icebergs, and anything else that dares to stand in its way. The blade's black color comes from being permanently hardened, making it nearly indestructible. A true testament to Mihawk's mastery as a swordsman. Not only is Yoru a masterpiece in craftsmanship, but it's also a reflection of Mihawk's precision and elegance. If the world's greatest swordsman were to put it up for sale, there's a high chance it could cost 500 million berries or more. That's another $5.3 million right there. We are finally at the top of the list. So far, we've seen swords, giant mechs, exploding cannonballs, and other kinds of weapons. But all of these don't compare to the scale of what's at number 1.
さて、運命よ。あの次世代の申し子の命。ここまでか。あるいは、この黒糖からどう逃がす。
Number 1. Presenting Pluton, the world's worst battleship. When you hear its label, you think it's a badly built ship, but don't let that fool you. Pluton is a highly advanced warship capable of mass destruction. As one of the 3 ancient weapons, it's a warship of unimaginable size and destructive capability, created during the Void Century. Legend has it that this battleship is capable of destroying entire islands from a single shot, making it the most dangerous and feared weapon in the entire One Piece world. The blueprints for this ship have been passed down through generations of shipwrights in case the need arises to build Pluton into existence, which includes the danger of itself. However, Frankie had destroyed them to prevent the ship from ever being reconstructed. So far, the original Pluton has been found within the land of Wano, buried deep beneath Mount Fuji. Fortunately, it could only be retrieved if the walls of Wano are brought down, and it's not a quick in-and-out heist. A weapon of this scale is worth a jaw-dropping 10 billion berries at minimum. That would translate to roughly $107 million, which is useful info if Elon Musk ever finds this video. And that's all for this list. But since One Piece is an ongoing anime, maybe an even stronger weapon will show up later. But until that time comes, how about you check out the top 10 rarest items in One Piece? So with that, I will see you in the next video.